GeronimoJak is back, and today we're gonna take things a little differently. V42 has been out for a little while. You know, people are starting to get comfortable with how it works and what the cards do and how the system plays out, but I think it's a good idea to give people some advanced starter decks, something that's a little more reliable and a little more in-depth than what the default starter decks that Epic provides, because they don't really fill everything you need. Like, you'll see something like a Countess deck. The intellect deck that comes out for a lot of the characters are actually just a support deck, and that's not going to work. Speaking of supports, today we're going to be talking about the Zechin's Light deck. It's going to be a support deck, one that I've been playing around with over the past couple days, the one that I built myself. I like to focus it around Muriel and Narbash. I think it works out really well. The deck is a support deck that emphasizes on a little bit of healing, a good chunk of vision, and securing objectives. You're going to be using the Zechin, Flame of Zechin card. You know, that's going to really help you get those early game primes in, and just, you know, have that extra Zechin in as you stack it through the game. You're going to be able to take objectives like no one's business, and it's going to be a really bad idea for the enemy team to even come close to prime as long as you are alive. Domain of Stillness is the group stasis card. That card is absolutely amazing. Wards are going to be another important card, and if the game goes on long enough, of course, Godmother the Vigilant, which is a card that gives you 15% bonus health, and that's going to help you sustain through everything since you are, you know, a tank. So we're going to build the deck, and of course it's going to be a growth and order deck. To start the game off, you are going to want your starter cards, and that's going to be Coin Master. We are also going to get Lamplighter in there. We're just going to switch this over to cost. Lamplighter, and that's going to be your basic vision card. You might not even be using the proper ward card in the game throughout it. You might just be buying these. They're cost effective. You know, you need your stats for other things, and see how that goes. You're going to want the Flame of Zechin, which is going to be one of the main cards throughout your entire build. One thing about this build you'll notice is that your cards aren't going to switch out a lot. A lot of these cards are kind of just filler cards to help you in the situation if it arises. Most of the time when I'm running the build, I notice I'm running Coin Master, Zechin, and some wards for about 90% of the game, up until I get enough points to get Domain of Stillness. And even then, the cards in between kind of just really help out that and are more stepping stones to get to the last cards. So at least I'm using the attribute point stats that I'm buying, opposed to just having them sitting in my inventory. But mainly, you're going to be spending a lot of time with wards in your pocket, Flame of Zechin, and then maybe one other card. As the game goes on, you're going to be looking at maybe picking up Radiant Healer. This is what Circlet of Health has turned into. Of course, you're going to want your Protective Sentry, so once you start leveling that up, you'll actually have your Armored Shadow Wards. You're going to give a little bit of basic armor to your team, anyone standing beside them. It's going to help you against anyone, you know, diving in, Kalari, junglers, onto the carry. Not only do you have vision, it's going to be that extra little bit of defense to protect you from that burst that she's looking to do. Another good card to put in the deck is Brilliant Fortification. All allied structures are going to be immune to damage for 6 seconds. The investment on this isn't actually that big, and the card does have its uses and could be utilized pretty effectively throughout the game. The only downside is that every time you unequip it, you're going to have to spend 1,000 gold to re-equip it, and like I just stated before, it's going to be a little harder to do because you're not going to have a lot of item slots throughout the game. Those wards are going to be very important, and switching them out isn't exactly going to be terribly easy to do. There are times in the game where Flame of Zechin won't be used as much. Let's say Prime has been taken. You're not the main person for Zechin, right? There are going to be moments where you're going to be able to utilize more cards and not worry about Vision or Zechin as much. Since the jungler is supposed to be the one primarily with Zechin, you're kind of just there to help secure Prime and objectives. So you don't need to have it equipped as much throughout the entire game. You don't need to worry about constantly stacking it up as much. If a large objective like Prime or Raptors has been taken, then you can actually unequip the card and put on something else until Prime is about to come back up. Then it's a good idea to go back, buy your Zechin back again, and then, you know, keep on going from there. After that, you know, a nice little filler card to add in will be Malink's Prayer. This is what Quenching Scales has turned into, so you all know that's gonna be a good card. Gates of Salvation would be another one. One card I'm actually looking at adding in there would be Yomi Spectre. And the reasoning for this is you're not going to be doing a whole lot of damage. However, you're going to give your team true vision and reduce their ability armor. So on those Narbash Thunks, on those Narbash Alts, any Muriel Shield, the bubble, the Consecrated Grounds, that is going to do not a lot of damage, but it's going to do a good chunk of ability armor reduction. You know, it's going to shred their armor right off and give you vision. So if you're chasing down a Kalari or anyone invisible, anyone using Shadow Dancer, which is a very popular card right now, this is going to help you as a support to keep your team alive. And it's going to cost you 7 intellect tribute points to get there, but it's not a big deal because you're going to find yourself, at least the way I go through the attribute trees, to go down the intellect side of things a lot more frequently, because that's where your experience gem is. That is where your mana fountain is. So you're going to really want to get those up because the supports really need that, in my opinion, to get through the game and just stay viable. After that, you know, a nice little card to add in there will be, of course, one of your main cards of the game. That's going to be Domain of Stillness. It's the group stasis card, and this has saved my life over the past few days and my team's life so many times. You can stop Morgish ult, you can stop Count Assault, any big burst coming in onto your team or anyone around you, you have just negated that entirely, and, you know, you might be able to slip out. It's something really worth keeping in there, especially as one of your main cards to work into. You're going to be bombing down that intellect tree on your attributes anyways, and it's only going to cost 2 on the vitality tree, which you probably would have gotten by that time, especially since you're going to be using that armored Shadow Ward card that we just put in there not too long ago. After that, it's Godmother's Vigilant. We do have 1 card slot. You can really put in anything you want, but one of the cards I was playing around with might actually be either Pack Leader or Vanguard Captain. You can choose that. It's all your choice. Or maybe Lightstep Vanguard, because, you know, you're going to be backing a little more frequently than your ADC. So this will help you get back into lane without having to run all the way down. Go ahead and stick this in there. The next, we're going to be looking at gems. Going into Intellect. This is going to be the more important one. Your slot 1, you're going to want to go ahead and choose your auto shield. This is going to give you an extra little bit of shielding damage, you know, 100 shield for 4 seconds once you fall below a quarter health. It's going to keep you alive for those early game ganks that the enemy jungler, mid laner, off laner are going to want to pressure onto you. And it'll also help out later on in the game. You know, like 100 shield isn't a lot, but it's still an extra 100 health to kind of keep you in the game and prevent you from dying, especially if you're, you know, Muriel or Narbash. You have the ability to heal, you have the ability to add more shields, so why not utilize it? You know, that's going to be an extra buffer to give you that extra time to get your proper spells off. Next into that is going to be the Experience Gem. Supports right now really suffer from levels and gold income. It's a big issue, so you need to find a way to get your experience and your gold on par with other people in the game. Now, if you're running a knowledge deck, you can go ahead and take the Font of Experience card right off the bat, and that's going to help you keep up with the rest of your team in levels through the game. But unfortunately, we don't have that card available to us. We're going to be running Order instead of Knowledge, and because of that, we're going to need the Experience Gem, because in all likelihood, Blade Turn and Deadly Mana aren't going to be utilized for you very well. So at least you have this to keep yourself up in the game. On here, and to the next intellect gem tree, there's healing spells, mana fountain, and spell burn, and you're going to be playing mostly Narbash and mostly Muriel with this deck. That's where I've gotten the most success with this, and you're not going to see spell burn and healing spells. You know, you do no damage, so it's not going to do a whole lot for you. So Mana Fountain, in my opinion, is going to be the pick of choice for that one. So go ahead and choose one of the gems that you're looking for, depending on the stats. I chose one with mana regen because more mana regen is always good mana regen, and that's how, you know, that one goes. As far as vitality is concerned, you can get the Healing Towers gem or the quick exit gem. Healing Towers will be good more for the early game. In my personal opinion, I don't find Healing Towers at this time to be that viable, especially as a support, because you're not going to be spending a whole lot of time under your tower. It might actually be a better idea just to take quick exit and the teleport card, because when you teleport, quick exit is still applied, so you get that movement speed boost coming out of the first tower instead of the base, and that's going to be a really big pick. You can just bomb down the lane, engage for your ADC, and maybe pick up a kill. You know, do it that way. And it's gonna be more valuable as the game goes on as well. It's definitely a later game card, or later game gem, sorry. As far as here is concerned, you can get one of these three. I chose to go with damage reduction, reduce basic damage taken by 10%. Being a little tankier is always nice. Being the support, you know, Muriel or Narbash, you might get focused by anyone and everyone. So this gem here, you know, will really help that. The other two gems aren't bad ideas either. You can gain a shield after being in a combat. That's another 125 shield. Add that to your auto shield that you already have put on there in your intellect tree, and that would help out. Or mana reactor. But as a support, well, if you're playing Muriel and Narbash, you're probably not the one who wants to be at the front line right there. You know, you want to be kind of that mid-engage to back line of your team. So we're going to go ahead and take that damage reduction just to help yourself out there. And we have one more gem to go through, and you can kind of pick whichever one you want. I opted for the spell shield. If the game goes on long enough, if you have the ability to get this, you know, this is going to block an ability, and that is pretty big because you're probably going to be focused a lot as the support, so that's going to help you out there. And just an overview of the deck, we're just going to rename it just for the sake of it. Here, Zechin's Light. It's a support deck, so you might as well just add that in there just like that, just to help out. And here's a quick overview of the cards and the deck. Like we talked about, your main cards in the game are going to be Domain of Stillness, Flame of Zechin, and Lamplighter or Protective Sentry. Those are your main cards. If the game does go on long enough, you have Godmother's Vigilant. As far as build order is concerned, just to give you a quick overcap of that, like I said, you're most likely going to be bombing down your intellect attribute tree. So you might want to stop and take a break, grab yourself Malink's Prayer. You might want to stop and take a break to grab yourself, you know, Protective Sentry, but that's going to stop you from getting your Experience Gem and your Mana Fountain sooner. And those two gems are, in my opinion, very, very vital for the support, the viability. So that's why I just went straight down the intellect tree to try and get everything out of order. Once you get Domain of Stillness, you'll have your support item that you're looking for to keep your team alive. Once objectives have been taken prime, or it's in later game and you have some solid vision already set up, you don't need to worry about having your ward cards on hand at all times, so you can swap either one or two of those out for some other cards in your deck that you have access to. Like we said, to start the game off, Lamplighter, Flame of Zechin, and Coinmaster kind of be the first three cards you're going to look for. If you take Coinmaster early on and you want to wait a little longer, what you can do is you buy your 1 point at the start of the game in Coinmaster, and then just sit in your base, don't auto attack, you know, get that extra gold income. It'll take about a minute to get there, so your ADC will be attacking his first minions, and then you can actually buy Lamplighter, because you'll have that 300 gold by the time the minion waves crash into each other, and you can actually go on from there, and just, you know, meet up a few seconds later than your ADC will need to. You'll have your early game vision, don't need to worry about being ganked as much, you'll have everything set up, and you'll be good to go for the next 3 to 5 minutes of the game before you need to back again. And that's going to be everything for today. If you guys like the video, let us know how this one is. It's a little more unorthodox, a little more laid back than what I'm used to doing. But if you enjoy it, please let us know, like and subscribe. And I am GeronimoJak, and until next time, I'll see you in Agora.